Evening peeps, good evening everyone. All right, let's just jump straight into this video. You guys have seen the thumbnail, you know exactly what we're about to discuss. Before we do that though, don't forget if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Thank you so much to everyone that is doing it. If you're not doing it, why are you not doing it? And can you please do it? Support your boy. All right, could Canelo become a 5-division champion? Sounds even crazy just to say it, a 5-division champion. And we're not talking about the lower weight classes where you can eat a burger and go up. 5-division champion at the higher weight classes is bigger jumps. It ain't easy to do. Could Canelo become that? Obviously, he's got this undisputed fight with Caleb Plant coming up in the early hours of Sunday morning. But let's be honest, a lot of people have already said, all right, if he beats Caleb Plant, then who? Some people have said Jamal Charlo, some people have said Gennady Golovkin, Demetrius Andrade. I don't know if those fights are going to happen. He's already won about 175 pounds, knocking out Sergey Kovalev. There is Joe Smith, Dmitry Bivol, Beterbiev. I don't think he'll fight Beterbiev. I don't see it happening. I think he'll beat Joe Smith, and I think he'll beat Dmitry Bivol as well. Especially Dmitry Bivol, because I think as good as Dmitry Bivol is, and he's very, very good, he's a small 175 pounder. And I think that'll be a good fight for Canelo. The reason this 5-division thing even came about, and look, we'll get to Makabu in a second, but I was at the AJ Usyk fight, and I'm not going to mention the guy who said this, but there was someone next to me when Lawrence Okolie was fighting, and Lawrence Okolie looked a bit off in the first round, and that person kind of hit me on the shoulder and said, you know what, I think Canelo could beat Lawrence Okolie, and I started laughing immediately. I was like, you must be crazy. Lawrence Okolie is a heavyweight. He's only masquerading as a cruiserweight. Lawrence Okolie probably weighs in as a cruiserweight for all of about 10 minutes. It's funny because I actually spoke to Ellie Scottney today about this and she laughed as well. She says he's a cruiserweight. As soon as he gets on the scale, as soon as he gets off the scale, he's back up to heavy. That's how big Lawrence Okolie is. And I was like, absolutely no way. The reason the conversation even came about Lawrence Okolie and Canelo is because Canelo has spoken about wanting to come over here and fight in the UK. Unfortunately, he's running out of opponents to fight in the UK. Canelo is the Brit basher. I think he's beaten like 7 Brits in the past. I think so. Liam Smith, Campbell Hatton, Ryan Rhodes, Amir Khan, Billy Joe Saunders, Rocky Field and Callum Smith. 7 opponents. But there is no one else to fight here. He's not going to fight Chris Eubank Jr. He's not going to fight Zach Parker. There's no one really to fight here. Lawrence Okolie, potentially, if we are chasing superstardom and glory, makes sense. It's a big fight over here because Lawrence Okolie is starting to grow his own brand as well. But Canelo isn't fighting Lawrence Okolie because, as I said, Lawrence Okolie is a heavyweight. He is. And Canelo is just far too small. And I think Lawrence Okolie hits far too hard for him as well. You talk about needing to dent Canelo. I think Lawrence Okolie could dent him and dent him bad. Makabu. Hear me out. Makabu, WBC Cruiserweight champion. Most of you will remember Makabu because he's the guy that Tony Bellew fatted in order for Tony Bellew to become WBC Cruiserweight champion at Goodison Park. Since then, he's gone on a run of about 9 wins. He's captured the WBC Cruiserweight belt, and he's looked pretty good. I was actually in South Africa for his comeback fight. He fought a Zimbabwean guy, and I was there. I was commentating for it in Carnival City. It's an amazing venue, very gladiatorial. Lennox Lewis fought there as well. I think Lennox Lewis fought Hasim Rahman there when Lennox Lewis got knocked out. That was in, I believe that was in Carnival City in South Africa. So basically since then he's gone on and won the WBC belt. He, however, is not a cruiserweight that should be a heavyweight. He's not. He's actually a cruiserweight that should be a cruiserweight. So what I'm trying to say is he's not super big. He's also 6 foot. And I know he's 6 foot because I interviewed him and I'm 5'10". And he's only a bit taller than me. I put this out on Twitter and I asked a question and everyone came back with, yes, Canelo would beat him. Canelo could become a 5-weight world champion. I don't think it's that easy. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves now. The jump from 175 pounds to cruiserweight is a big one. It's a massive one, in fact. Let's not forget the issues that Nathan Cleverly had when Nathan Cleverly tried to jump from light heavy to cruiser. It's a huge jump. It really is. And I think the size difference would be so enormous that I don't even think Canelo could make it up. I really don't. I don't think he could. People might sort of reference Roy Jones Jr. going up and becoming a heavyweight world champion, and I get that. but Roy Jones Jr. had the speed and just... Roy Jones Jr. was just Roy. Let's be honest, Roy is just a very, very special fighter, and his speed was enough to almost negate that sort of size threat. Canelo doesn't have that. Canelo has to almost stay in front of you to have his success, whereas Roy kind of hits and moves, doesn't stay in front. Canelo likes to stay in front. If he were to stay in front of a guy like Ilunga Makabu, could get knocked out. How many knockouts does Makabu have on his record? Of his 28 wins, Makabu has 25 knockouts. Now, Canelo does have one of the best chins we've ever seen in boxing. He really does. It's ridiculous. But again, getting hit by guys that are 160, 168, and even 175 is one thing. Getting hit by guys who are cruiserweight, who's been an established cruiserweight pretty much all of his life, that's another thing altogether. But what do you guys think? Realistically, come on, what do you guys think? Do you think Canelo could jump up to cruiser, and he doesn't have to wait at the cruiser limit, he could come in just under, which he probably would. Do you think he could beat Ilunga Makabu and become a 5-division champion? So I'm not talking about Bradis, I'm not talking about Okoli, because those guys are very big at the weight. I'm talking about a guy that's not very big at the weight. And would there be any interest in it? Would there be any interest in it? Would people say, oh, Canelo's just trying to find the easiest champion to win a belt? I think some people have already said that. After his win over Sergei Kovalev, or would he just get mad props for doing it? I think it would get mad props. I think it would be incredible. And although I think it's too much of a jump, I would never, ever rule him out of winning this. Never. The 2 fights that Makabu has lost, he's been knocked out in. To be fair, the first one was his debut. The second one was Tony Bellew, and that punch would have put heavyweights down. It would have put heavyweights down. So, yeah, I find it very interesting. I do. I find it very, very interesting. Do I think it will happen? Probably not. But you never know with Canelo, because, again, look, I think Canelo wants to go down as the greatest ever Mexican heavy fighter of all time. Right now, you'd probably say that's Julio Cesar Chavez. I think he wants to supersede that. And in order to do it, he might need... Sounds crazy, he might need to go up another weight class above the light heavyweight division. I don't know. Just to go on Makabu's last win was a guy from Nigeria he knocked out called DURA. DURA actually fights Riakporhe soon. DURA is actually not bad. He's done now. I think DURA is about 40. Let's have a quick look. DURA 41. So, yeah, see what DURA can do. But remember, he faces Riakporhe on the 20th of November. All right, let me know what you guys think, by the way. Let me know what you think on this one. Could Canelo beat Makabu and become a 5-weight world champion? That's crazy. Bear in mind, he started as a welterweight. Yes, he won his first title at 154, but it's just mental. Let's quickly see if there's any news to talk about before we pack up and go. I saw this. Paulie Malignaggi has landed a role with Boxer. Obviously, Boxer is the tournament that Sky are putting on. Paulie's going to work in that. Look, Paulie's one of the best in the business. Well done for him for getting back in. It's been a while since we've seen him do anything. I think there was a time when it felt like Paulie was everywhere, doing stuff for Showtime, doing stuff for Sky Sports, and I think people really, really appreciated and liked him, so it's good to see Paulie on the airwaves. Frank Warren, Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua in every department. Look, Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua. I don't know if it's every department. I mean, I still think that power is definitely with AJ. I know Fury has done well in his last 2 fights, getting stoppages, right? Corner stoppage and the knockout, but I still think the power lies with AJ. And all the other departments, in terms of boxing IQ and ability and confidence and all that kind of stuff, yeah, he does. There's no 2 ways about it. He definitely does. Carl Frampton favours Jake Paul to beat Tommy Fury in Showdown. A lot of people are saying this, you know. Even Ellie Scottney was saying this today. She was like, yeah, you know, she thinks that Jake Paul will beat Tommy Fury, because as much as Tommy is a boxer, I mean, look at let me have a quick look at Tommy Fury's record again. I want to look at the losses of the opponents he's fought, because I genuinely believe that Jake Paul would have knocked out all his opponents as well. So the first guy was 102 losses. The second guy, 26 losses. The guy after that, 26. Then 11. Then 9 losses. The guy after that had a winning record of 2-0, and then obviously he fought this MMA guy, Anthony Taylor, who had a loss. Jake Paul would have beaten all of those guys as well. So yes, he is a boxer of note in terms of he's a boxer. That's what his job is. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of with Carl Frampton and Ellie Scott. And yeah, I think Jake Paul beats him as well, which is crazy. Canelo here says, all the talk, all the shit. Plant says, that's why it's personal. Should be an interesting fight, you know, because Caleb Plant ain't scared in any way, shape or form. And you never know, man. If Canelo goes in swinging, trying to open up and he gets tagged, I mean, yes, we know he has the best chin in the world, but everyone's chin eventually gives way. We'll see what happens. Finally, we'll end on this one. Fury's coach explains they are 100% serious about helping Joshua prepare for Usyk. Come on, man. That's not going to happen, is it? I still don't quite understand what AJ is doing, though. I'm not quite sure if there is this real split from Rob McCracken. Is he... I feel like everyone that watched that Coogan interview, and again, credit to Coogan, I thought it was a really good interview, is still a bit like, okay, what does that mean? Does that mean you're with Rob, not with Rob? It is confusing, but he certainly isn't going to train with bloody Sugar Hill, is he? I mean, he's not going to do that, or Andy Lee or anyone, is he? I think AJ's problems are up here, not his physical attributes and his boxing ability. It's just mentally him telling himself that he has to go through hell to get this job done. I think he can, but look, we shall see. All right, guys, can Canelo be a 5-weight world champion? Let me know. Peace.